I hope you all have this book, the prayer book with you, the brown book, the Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. If you don't have, raise your hands. Okay. Okay, let us turn to page 3. Setting a proper motivation makes the whole difference in what we are doing here. For that matter, refuge field, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings, and particularly the author of the text, the Acharya Aryadeva, and how you visualize them. They are like your very affectionate parents, and you come home demoralized, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, and attention. And your bodhicitta field, visualize your two parents on the two sides, and all the family members around you, and all the not sentient beings leaving them aside. And the purpose of this practice, purpose of this class, is to discover the ultimate potential of perfect happiness that exists within each one of us. The ultimate source of happiness is nowhere to be found. It's only within ourselves that needs to be discovered. Like the gold, when in the form of ore, you find that it is mixed with the soil, and you don't see the gold there. It's just the soil there. In the eyes of the ordinary people, we just see a soil there. But in the eyes of the experts, there's a gold there, and they will prove us that there's gold there by removing the dirt. As the dirt and the soil are removed, then the gold inside start to glow. Likewise, when the mental defilements, when they're removed, when the mental dirts are removed by the proper remedies, then the gold inside, the true potential of ultimate happiness that exists within you, will start to glow. Okay, so there is a purpose. And the point is, now what is that remedy to separate the perfect potential of ultimate happiness from the dirt? So that is done by the wisdom. It is like, say, you wake up from the sleep of ignorance, and the nightmare that you go through in the dream will come to an end the moment you come to realize that all what happened in the dream was just my mind, nothing really there is real. So this realization will help you be removed from the fears of samsara, the fears of life. So that is whole purpose. So with that in mind, imagine that you are leading this group, and everyone, including your two parents, they are following the journey of cleansing the mind to see the reality as it is and wake up from the sleep of ignorance, so that your ultimate source of happiness within you is unwrapped fully. Page 3. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past courses those having migrated to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps the doers to expand the variety of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. To your make restorations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make restorations. I go for refuge until my enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha.
By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings.
Inspired by wisdom and compassion. Om ye dharma ye tu prabhava
Etum tesham tathagato yavadat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavadat tesham chayo nirodha
evam vadi mahashamanaye swaha. Om
ye dharma
hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashamanaye swaha. All phenomena arise in causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the natural light dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the professional wisdom, which is unborn, unseized, and has the nature of space. It is the ultimate apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas, of the three kinds, I pay obeisance. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of all. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, please liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If there is grasping, you do not have that view. Okay, Heart Sutra. Page 14, praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, for destroyer, the completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I persuade, make offerings and go for refuge. When O supreme amongst humans you were born on this earth, you paid some 7 shrines, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you the wine, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science face like a spotless moon, color like a gold, to you I prostrate. Does feel like you, the 3 worlds are not. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate, the purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamb, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream of astral lightning, clouds, a conditioned things as such. Through this marriage may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness and death. Okay, Heart Sutra Mantra. Page 31. As we recite the mantra, just visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni presiding over the gathering in Vulture's Peak. Many of you were already there in Vulture's Peak. And imagine that the Buddha is exalting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come to his ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni, we inspire you to become parents, we inspire everyone, all of family members, everyone, all sentient beings. Look, this is what our compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni is telling us. Let us not remain in the miseries anymore. Let us all go towards the ultimate happiness. And everyone, including two parents, hearing that you are saying such a wonderful thing, they are so inspired, they are so happy, they so happily join you in this journey of cleansing mind to wake up from the slough of ignorance and to bring an end to the nightmare of samsara. So with that in mind, you are leading this mantra and everyone is happily joining you. And those of us who are hearing this mantra for the first time, you are very lucky, very fortunate that you're meeting with this mantra. Listen to others, how they sing, and then you also join us, slowly join us in this recitation. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhisvaha 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 Okay, let us read page 57, the Noble Mahayana Sutra, Dependent Arising. Okay, all the miseries that we go through is because of our failure to see dependent arising. And the clearer we see dependent arising, the greater the likelihood that we're going to be freed from all forms of miseries. So this is a very short, the text on the concept of dependent arising, how we can understand dependent arising, in what sense, so that our miseries will come to an end. Okay, let us read this together. And this is a very precious sutra. I'd imagine that your two parents and all the family members, they're all there joining you and reaping the benefit of this recitation and reflect on the meanings. Okay, we'll say this together, read this together. Homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Thus did I hear at one time. The Blessed One was in the realm of the gods of the 33, sitting on the throne of Indra. Together with him were great heroes such as the Venerable Ashvaji, Bodhisattva Mahasattva such as Noble Maitreya, Noble Avalokiteshvara, and Vajrapani, who are adorned with immeasurable precious qualities, as well as various gods such as the great Brahma,
the Lord of the Small World, the great Ishvara,
Shaktan, Shiva gods, and Panchasika, king of the Gandharvas. On that occasion, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara rose from his seat, having draped his upper robe over one shoulder, knelt down with his right knee on the peak of Mount Meru. His palms pressed together, he bowed toward the Blessed One and addressed these words to him. Blessed One, these gods all really wish to build a stupa. Now that they are present in this entourage, please teach them the Dharma in such a way so that the merit of Brahma will increase and the merit of the monks, nuns, and laywomen will increase much more than that of all the types of beings in the world of gods, Maras, Brahma, including renunciants and Brahmins. At this, the Blessed One spoke the verse of dependent arising. Ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato hevatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaya swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. Avalokiteshvara, it is like this. This dependent arising is the Dharmakaya of all the Buddhas. He who sees dependent arising sees the Tathagata. Avalokiteshvara, if a faithful son or daughter of a noble family builds in a remote place a stupa, the size of a goose bear fruit, with the central pillar the size of the needle, and the parasol the size of the flower of a bamboo tree, and inserts this verse of dependent arising, which is the Dharmadhatu, he or she will generate the merit of Brahma. When such person pass on from here and die, they will be reborn in the world of Brahma. When they pass on from there and die, they will be reborn with fortunes equaling those of the gods of the pure body abodes. After the Blessed One had spoken these words, the hearers, Bodhisattvas, the whole assembly, and the universe of gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas rejoice and praise his teaching. This concludes the noble Mahayana Sutra on dependent arising. Okay, 5 minutes breathing meditation. Okay, ready? Basically the idea for this breathing meditation is that to reap the maximum benefit of our being alive is to bring about mental change so that we can reap the maximum, the greatest of the happiness, the ultimate treasure which exists within each one of us. So to reap the maximum benefit out of this life, of course, your daily jobs and your studies and household responsibilities, they're all very important. But I say at the same time, beyond these, see if there's something that we can do to make our life more meaningful. So generally speaking, say just to lead a life. This is even what the animals do. The cats, dogs, they also do the same thing. They also sleep, they get up, and then they look for food. And so all these things what we do, even animals they do. So now that we are human beings, there should be something different, which animals cannot do and we can do. So that is to extract a greater meaning beyond what animals are doing. So that thing can be done by, say, the accomplishing what we seek. And what we seek is finally the state of fearlessness and the state of greatest happiness, the two things. And the fearlessness is given rise to by the perfect wisdom. And the state of the maximum joy is given to you by the unconditional love towards other beings. So these two things are what are to be adopted. And these two things somehow, for that to make it, the richer these two thoughts, the richer your happiness, and the more stable these two thoughts, more stable your happiness. So the stability plays a very important role while we enrich this happiness. So for that matter, for the stability, for building the stability, this single point of meditation would be very helpful. And particularly today, nowadays, the world of technology, science and technology, advanced science technology, we see that people are all so busy, what in the past requires like 5 days or 1 week to accomplish one particular job, you can do it just within 1 hour nowadays because of the fastness of the technology. So while the technology is so fast, our mind may not be so fast. So when our mind tries to catch up with the technology, there's so much of stress and tension. So even from that point of view, to relieve yourself of the stress and tension, this meditation would be extremely beneficial. And if you can get some degree of expertise in this meditation, that will surely help us help us greatly to calm our mind. Okay, so this meditation, to make it very quick, most of us here know how to do meditation, but for those, should there be one or two who are not really exposed to meditation, I would give a very quick instruction. The single point of meditation, which has so many kinds, so many varieties there. The one which we are doing now is a very simple one and yet very effective, and if you can do it on a daily basis, this will be of great benefit. So this consists of 4 parts, 4 things to keep in mind. One is the body posture. Number 2 is focal point meaning what you're going to meditate on. Then number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation, and then finally applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Okay, first body posture. Body posture, say the body sitting upright. This is of course cross-legged, if possible, cross-legged. If not, this is not mandatory. Then sitting upright. This is so important. Unless you have backache or the backache, it is so important to sit upright. Then number 2, head tilted forward a little bit. And very important point not to miss is not to close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Keep your eyes half open and 45 degrees cast down. Initially it's a little difficult. Later on you see so much of benefit over keeping your eyes closed. Then the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in the mouth. And the teeth and the lips, keep them in their natural course. And breathe naturally. Don't impose your breath, don't control your breath. And pull your right hand on the lap, the left hand. Place your right hand on the left hand. And then the tips of the 2 thumbs joining, forming a triangle. Place the 2 hands on your laps in a restful state. And breathe naturally. So this is your body posture. Number 2, what we're going to meditate on. This is so important. Oftentimes people say that I'm meditating, and what they're doing is just sitting ideally like this, quiet, and actually this is not meditation. So there, your mind should be very active. Your mind should be very active. Physically you may be calm, peaceful, just the same static, but your mind must be very active. So what you must be thinking of, there are so many kinds. What we're doing is a very simple one. Visualize a very tiny dot, tiny white dot, 1 mm or 2 mm in diameter between your nose and upper lip. Okay, so this is what you should be visualizing. And while you visualize your mind on this tiny dot, multitasking. Count your breath. Breathe in, breathe out, cycle 1, breathe in, breathe out, cycle 2. So this is what we're going to do, two things happening together while you're meditating. Two things happening together, 4 or 5 minutes. At home, if you're a beginner, I would suggest not to do for 5 minutes. I may suggest you do just 21 cycles. 21 cycles equals a little over 1 minute. Whereas here, because it's a group meditation, it should be fine even if you do it for 5 minutes, it's not a problem. Okay, so this is what we're going to meditate on. Number 3, in the process, you may come across challenges or difficulties. So this is known as the identifying the errors of meditation. Errors of meditation, there are two kinds. One is mental laxity and the other one is mental excitement. Mental laxity is when your mind feels lethargic, heavy, inserviceable, mental sinking. Your mind becomes very passive. So other one is mental excitement, when your mind is overactive and your mind gets scattered here and there. So these are the two errors. Okay, now if any of these two things happen, what should we be doing? Don't panic, simply apply the remedies. Number 4, what is the remedy? Now, remedy, they are twofold. One is introspection and one is mindfulness. Introspection is just once in a while keep an eye on your own mind to see whether the mind is meditating or in a relaxed state or scattered. If you see that the mind is scattered or in a relaxed state, then apply the mindfulness, the next part, which is like a rope to bring the lost dog, back to the intended object of meditation. Likewise, bring the mind back to the intended object of meditation, which is your, which is the dot between your nose and upper lip. So this is what I'm going to do for 5 minutes. Okay, ready? Okay. Generally speaking, it says that when the fire flares up, it's a very auspicious sign. Yeah. So particularly with Aryadeva's book, the text, once his soul is in Buddha Jayanta Park, like same thing happened right in front of the Buddha statue. His Holiness says that unless it brings some disasters, major disaster, otherwise it's very auspicious to see fire flaring. Yeah. Okay. So we are on chapter 13, page 37. Of this book, of the 400 verses on the middle way. Okay, the chapter, I think we were doing stanza 305.
We finished at 303.
Okay, we finished 303. The title of this chapter is Refuting Objectively Existent Sense Power and Objectively Existent Objects. So the idea is that, say, okay. Oops. Okay, the idea is that the Buddha himself very clearly stated from this where is that stanza? On the flowers.
The various delightful flowers.
202. 202, okay. 202. Stanza 3. Upali requested sutra, an extract. The various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme golden pot stands so alluring. For none of these is their creator. They are posited by the power of thought. It is through conceptualization that the world is imputed. Okay, so this text or the stanza that we just read is so precious. So this tells us how we go through the miseries and how we can come out of the miseries. Okay, so how many of you in your life you have come across a situation where you perceive something, then you decided or you take you thought that things are the way it appears. In actuality, the reality is very different. In other words, perception, you perceive things one way and the reality is very different. So reality being different, you discover maybe later, but initially you acted upon on the basis of the perception. And anyone come across such a situation? Yes, okay. Anyone who likes to share with us your stories? Not too long, very short stories or anecdotes. Yes. So where you had the perception and on that basis you acted, and finally you discovered that the reality is very different. In other words, we are being deluded. We are being deceived by the perception, right? Sometimes we trust people so much, and in the end you end up in miseries. Sometimes we don't trust, we doubt it on the person, and then we may even cast, say, the very negative thoughts towards the person. Well, later on we discover that this person is an amazing person, and you regret. Okay, so things can happen. So, would like to share your experience?
Actually, Gishila, last year I I went to Mysore for a diploma course. It was in food technology at Defense Food Research Laboratory. So I was away from the family, and so I perceived that place and the people there, I mean my classmates and all, as a sign of threat. I mean, like, I did not trust them. So there was a lot of fear in my mind that I'm so far away from my family and so on. So I decided to come back. So, but then at that time I could not see the advantages of being in such a renowned institution, that it's such good. But later on, then I realized that it was just my perception, like that fear and that discomfort, that was just my perception. It was not there in reality. I mean, like,
how did you discover it? How did you discover that the fear that you had was just your self-made? The reality is very different. How did you discover that later?
it was just the silence of the mind, and
Okay, so what your mind made at that point without any concrete basis.
yeah, there was no concrete basis.
Okay, very good, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else who would like to share your stories? Or you want to keep it confidential? Okay, Louise, you want to share?
I have a very explicit, and the discovery was also very explicit. So we are taught by newspapers that many of the gas stations, the petrol pumps, they cheat in the sense that what you pay there, and there is some meter, something they do with the meters. Yeah? So the other day I was filling petrol in my car, and yeah, I paid that about 3,000 rupees or whatever. And then in the cars there is a meter there which says that how much petrol you have in the car. It didn't go till that high, it was only half, and my car gets full in 3,000 rupees or so. But I noticed that 2-3 minutes later, after I had come out of petrol pump, and I was like feeling disappointed. Oh, I got cheated, things like that. And I was thinking of going back and fighting with that person. Because 2-3 years ago, one of my relatives had fought with a petrol pump and he got his money back, kind of thing. So I was thinking, okay, let me just go and fight. But then I was going somewhere important and I had to pick my kids, so I thought, okay, let it go. But as soon as I reached the destination, I saw the meter was actually going to that thing, was actually slow to react, and it was actually full. And after 10 minutes, oh, it's full, not a problem at all. And then I sort of realized that I was too quick in my judgment, and I was too assuming that wrong thing has happened, but actually it was not wrong.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone else? Anyone no experience? Or want to keep it confidential? Division, you have some experience?
Recently we were flying back from Gujarat, and in the flight, maybe about 6-7 miles ahead, there was a lady, and 5 or 6 times the air hostess went and was speaking, and it was a very short flight, and it was a full service flight. So I was feeling bad for the air hostesses that, why is this lady giving such a hard time? They work so hard, it's the last flight of the night, food is okay, what's the big deal? Why is she complaining? So these thoughts were coming, and we destiny what we got out together. And at that time I did not see she had like a 3-year-old son, and in her food there was some external thing. It was the start of flight. So she was, being a mother, she was concerned about her son. So she was complaining about that. So then we got out together, and the son was so sleepy, he just slept on the floor. And she had so much of luggage, so I offered to pick up the son. And then she started talking and telling everything on her own. And then I was like, I was judging her too fast, that actually it was the problem with the food, genuine problem, and mother was concerned, and that's why she was complaining.
That's true, that's true. In fact, we see that in our life, that say, may not be 100%, but like at least 67% of our problems are self-creation. Say we perceive in one way, and reality is very different. Right? And on the basis of the perception, then you act. and then you act so quickly, right? That eventually, when you come to discover the reality, you regret. So this is what happens so oftentimes. So the point is that there's a discrepancy between the appearance and the reality, right? And the discrepancy between the appearance and reality, it happens on so many levels, For example, say you go for seeking a job, and the boss and yourself, your colleagues, and then just you create a presupposition that my colleagues, they are being not kind, you should defend yourself. For yourself, you have to take care of yourself and don't rely on others. They may cheat you, they may deceive you, like this, the boss, or whatever. So these things then say, and then unnecessarily you go, and then somebody just, talks to themselves, amongst themselves, and say laughs, and you think that they are laughing against you. All these problems are there. And oftentimes, in fact, some of the things you wouldn't believe that it happened to me. Because that it happened to me, I'm so happy. I can very confidently speak about these things to other people. I don't remember the incidents right now. That something happened, it is as though like the person A was deliberately doing that for me. And then the next moment, the chain of the events happen. Surely that makes you judge that the person is being unkind or deliberately harming you. And in actuality, when you're being very objective, you come to realize that these are all accidental things. One after the other, one after the other. You wouldn't believe. If you're not objective in your natural thinking, you will just by the second turn of the event, you will just say that this person is very unkind, right? So this happened to me several times, and then I see that the same thing was happening to other people, and then how they become so irritated because of these things. The point is there's a discrepancy between the what? Appearance and the reality, right? Okay, and same, if you can overcome, if you can be, so these things, how can you get rid of this problem? Is by realizing that appearance may not reflect the reality. Reality could be very different. And then the discrepancy between appearance and reality, there are so many layers. The more you uncover this discrepancy to a subtle level, the more you will be freed from the unnecessary problems, doubts, suspicion, lack of trust. Most of these things happen because of relying on your appearance, the appearance that you have. And of course, some people, right, they don't rely on their appearance too much. They have a divine vision that they're deceived constantly. The point is that we should be very careful, right? And the point is that we should be very careful that you don't go to the extreme of falling in trusting your appearance, nor you overly not trust the appearance and believe that the other person is pure, right? So these are the two extremes. The point is we should be as objective. Okay. Now by being objective, then you may come to discover that there's a problem there. The object realizes there's a problem. Right? Sometimes there's no problem there, and then I perceive a problem there. So that is my self-creation. So this can easily be overcome when I realize the fact. One. Then take this another scenario where you discover that your perception and the reality is to tally. Right? somebody is unkind towards you, you thought that a person is unkind towards you, and in actuality, the person is really unkind towards you. So under such situation, what will you do? In what way this text will help us? This question. Okay, so with all the levels of discrepancy between the appearance and the reality, you reach to the subtlest level of discovering the discrepancy between appearance and reality, and this discovery will allow you to have peace of mind 24/7, peace of mind at all times, while being able to tactfully tackle the situation without the situation becoming worse. In other words, you can tackle the situation, at the same time, your peace of mind is not affected. Okay, this is the final understanding. This will happen only when we get to the final understanding of the discrepancy, the subtlest of the discrepancy between appearance and reality. Okay, so some of you already know about this is what that subtlest is. Say we speak about, say for example, when we are still awake, okay, I say that, okay, I say something to you, and you think that, oh, he is so deep inside, he's not a kind person. And then you treat me very differently. And then in actuality, I may not be that unkind. You may discover later on, and then you regret one way. And then in actuality, I may be very unkind. You thought that I'm unkind, and I am unkind to things. That is in the waking state. Now, if the same thing happens in the dream, same thing can also happen in the dream. In the dream also, say you meet with someone and then you make a very quick judgment. You say, oh, this person is very unkind, this person is very hopeless, he or she is very dull, right? And then later on, you come to discover the reality that he is very smart, right? Okay. Then in the dream, again you can be in a second situation where you meet with a person and you thought that person is not really good, and later on you discover that person is not good, right? And then you may be disturbed. In the first case, you were initially disturbed. Later on, you discover the person is good, your mental disturbance is over. You feel happy. Whereas in the second case, you see that you think that person is bad, and you are disturbed, and you realize that the person is bad, you're even more disturbed. Right? How can you get out of this problem? So how can you get out of this problem? Do you follow the question? In the dream, you met with a person, and you thought that the person is unkind, you feel disturbed. And then you cross-check with your friends. Say, for example, like Dibeshla, who is very smart, right? And then you get information that that person is really very unkind. And then you also observe the details, you come to know that the person is unkind. And then you become very disturbed, right? How can I get out of this problem? Hey, how can I get out of this problem? No way? Huh? Yes, just wake up. Right, wake up. Otherwise, in the dream, impossible. In the dream, you cannot get out of the problem. You wake up and the problem is over. Right? Okay, likewise. So this is because why in the dream you had a problem and why when you wake up the problem is over. In the dream, what you saw was in actuality dream. It's coming from your mind and you saw that as coming from the object, as real. As real. As opposed to coming from your mind, it is seen as real. As opposed to coming from the subject, it's coming from the object. So when you see that as coming from the object, then you take it as so real. When you see it as so real, that is the cognitive side of your mind. Then the affective side, yes, the person is bad, I should go away from this person, right? Okay, so that happens, the affective side. When you wake up, you realize that, okay, that person being very bad, this is nothing, just my mental creation. You're getting it? When you realize that it's coming from mind, it's not real, your disturbance stops. So, the best way by which to get out of all problems, no matter what, is to wake up from this deep of ignorance. This is the idea. Okay, so in other words, what is being said here is that all that we're encountering, so the flower that I see in front of me, and the temperature, the heat at the moment is bearable. It's nothing. Temperature, say in June, mid-June, when the temperature shoots up to like 46, 47, temperature is really very unbearable. So temperature, and then the cooling effect here. So everything, in other words, they're all coming from the mind. They're all coming from the mind. And I know some of you, particularly those who are beginners meaning they listen to this for the first time, and also being very smart, very intelligent, you have a very spontaneous question. If it's all coming from your mind, why don't you stand outside in 47 degrees centigrade without AC? This is your question, I know. Right? Okay, I'll not respond to it right now. First, let me complete this. Okay, so all are coming from your mind. Just as in a dream, while everything in the dream was coming from your mind, but in the dream, if somebody tells you that you're dreaming, it's not coming from the object, it's not real, it's coming from your mind, you wouldn't believe that person. Right? And in the dream, if I say that you're dreaming, you will say that if you dream, okay, let us wait till mid-June, and you stand outside 47 degrees centigrade. In the dream, you will say the same thing. Right? You'll say the same thing. Okay, now the point is that, say, just as the dream, what was happening in the dream, you believed it to be so real. What do you mean by real? You believe it to be real, meaning that it's not coming from your mind. It's not coming from the mind, it's coming from the object. Instead of coming from the mind, instead of coming from the subject, it's coming from the object. This was your belief. As long as you have this belief, when that person disturbs you or provokes you, you are irritated. Right? The moment you wake up, this person, the dream person, cannot irritate you, cannot provoke you. Because you know that this is nothing really from there, it's all coming from the mind. The moment you come to realize that it's all coming from the mind, you are least affected by the object. Right? Okay, this is so important. So how many of us want to be free from fear of life? All of us, right? Okay, if I ask this question to the world, people of the world, whether believer, non-believer, scientists, psychologists, mathematician, businessmen, CEO, or what else? CFO, right? The politicians. You ask this question to anyone, everybody will say that I want freedom from fears. You're getting it? This is so important. If you truly want to be freed from the fears of life, see if you can wake up from the unconventional dream. If you're free of fear in your dream, the best thing is wake up. Wake up from the dream. Likewise, what is going now, this is also another form of dream. We have to wake up from this dream. This is known as unconventional dream. Dream there too, right? Conventional dream, we have been waking up every now and then. Within 24 hours we wake up. Okay. But an unconventional dream, we never wake up from this unconventional dream. Because of which we're constantly under the force of the fears. Say, as long as we are in the dream, the contents of the dream, we cannot decide it. How many of you can decide the contents of your dream? What are you going to dream? What are you going to dream of? Who can decide your dream? Nobody can decide, right? Nobody can decide. And some of the contents are very pleasant, some of the contents are terrible, very scary, very scary. Okay, how many of you have very scary dreams in your life? Once, twice, 3 times, whatever. Right? Almost all of us. How many of you, this is a very interesting question. How many of you never had such a scary dream in your life? Okay, none, right? In some cases, when I ask this question, some people, in 200 people, one person raises his or her hand saying that I never had a bad dream. Lucky person. But in actuality, I'm not too sure whether lucky, because the person will not have example. Only if you had a very scary dream, why did you have the fear? Because I thought what was happening in dream, somebody coming to kill me, was real. And when did that problem over? When was that problem over? When you wake up, right? What made you to come out of this problem when you wake up? When I realized that what was happening in the dream was not real. As opposed to being real, it was all coming from my mind. When I come to realize that everything is coming from my mind, all my miseries, fears stop. This is so precious, so precious. Okay, so in this connection, just a little bit of digression. Not too much of digression, but very important is say. Okay, tell me, what is in my hand? Flower, right? Okay. Is from the object? How do you see this flower? Coming from the object or coming from your mind? How do you see this? From the object. This is known as, I see the flower to be objectively existent. Getting it? Okay. And what makes you think? Okay, just speak your mind and keep aside whatever you've learned. And if you have experience of emptiness, there is exception. Right? Otherwise, if you don't have experience, you have learned it, just the learning level, keep them aside. Speak from your heart. Okay. How does the flower appear to you? From the object or from your mind, like the movie projector, your mind like the movie projector, the flower like this, like this? Or the flower, no, it has nothing to do with my mind. My mind is not like a movie. It's really there. How does it appear to you?
It's really there.
Okay, so let's say, to make it more clear, okay, look at other person sitting next to you. Look at other person sitting next to you. Okay, did you notice one thing? One thing which is common in all of you? All of you are smiling. And although I did not ask you to smile, I just asked you to look at the other person. You looked at and then the smile came automatically. Okay, now imagine the same person who made you smile. Imagine the same person. You might close your eyes and imagine the same person. Okay, now open your eyes. Nobody was smiling. Right? You were thinking of the same person. You were seeing the same person. But one makes you smile. One makes you not to smile. Why? What you think? Tell me, what made you to smile in the first place when you look at that person? And when you're imagining, why you're not smiling? Why? Anyone? Why you're not smiling when you're imagining this person? No smile. Why? Okay.
The second was just the image of Naresh, which I saw.
Okay.
The first one was I really saw Naresh.
So Naresh was the Ajirji was looking at Naresh and smiling, right? Yes, Ajirji. Okay. So the point is, okay, just see if you agree with me and if you agree with Ajirji. The point is, why did you not smile when you think of the same person in your mind? Because you know that what you're thinking is all coming from your mind. You know that, right? It's the image. It's just your mental creation. It's not real. Whereas when you look at a person, the person is not seen as coming from your mind. It's coming from the object. When you see the person as coming from the object, then all these emotional stirs happen. Attachment, anger, jealousy, fear, anxiety, stress, tension, depression, all these things arise when you see the object as objectively real, right? This is so important, so important. Now, through a set of reasonings, through a set of rational, logical thinking, then you come to realize that what I'm seeing is not really from the object. Okay, let me ask you a few questions with the same flower, right? Same flower. Say, in the first place, tell me, what made you think that there's a flower in my hand? I can see this, which means that you rely on your eye consciousness. Okay, now tell me. Now let us go a little more, okay, just try to follow my reasoning, follow my logical trend of reasoning, and then see how much way you're going, right? Okay, what made you think that there's a flower in my hand is that you could see it. So which means that you trust on your perception. You trust on your sight. Okay, your sight, tell me, say how many people are there? Let's say 30 or 40. Let's say the 50. 50 people are looking at the same flower, right? 50 people looking at the same flower. So this flower is seen by 50 different eye sense organs. Agree? Not agree? Agree. And these 50 different eye sense organs, they are not identical. We have to see this through the eye lens. You agree with me? In the eye lens are physical, say the physical matter. Eye lens are physical matter. And there are 50 different eye lenses. And within the two eye lenses of the same person, even these two are not identical. You agree with me? Because of this, some people they have +2 here and -2 here. Right? This is a fact. This tells us, very clearly tells us that even the eye lenses, they are different. Of the same person, they are different. If they are 50 different people, 100% sure that 50 different eye lenses are there. If not 100 eye lenses are different. Okay, 50 different eye lenses means 50 different perceptions are taking place. You agree with me or not? Okay, which of the perceptions is correct and which is wrong? Which of the perceptions is correct and which is incorrect? Okay, if I say my perception correct, yours one is wrong, you will say no, yours one is correct and mine one is wrong. Okay, how can you say this? So from this will pose a challenge to your thinking. Then okay, what I'm perceiving, if it is 100% from the object, the way you see is correct, then the way others see this should be also correct. If that's the case, then there should be 50 different flowers in my hand. And that contradicts the reality. Right? There's only one flower. Okay, so from this we come to get some clue. Of course, there are so many reasoning, so many logical thinking, which will help us to understand that what is actually there is not from there, it's coming from this subject. This is what they come to us. So now, for the time being, let's say that. So there's a perception taking place, no doubt. Perception taking place. The perception that is taking place for me. And that is taking place for Yash. That is taking place in Logeshi. They are all different. 50 different perceptions. If there are 50 different perceptions, either all are wrong, or at the most we can say one is correct and the remaining 49 are wrong. Right? And which one is right, which one is wrong, we cannot say this. Okay, from this, if we say that what I'm perceiving is correct, how do you think that your perception is correct? How many do you think that your perception is correct? We all will say that your perception is correct. In a way, implicitly you are saying that other perception is wrong. Right? Because only one amongst the contradictory perceptions, only one should be correct, because there's only one object there. Right? So if you say that you think that my perception is correct, in a way you are saying that others' perceptions are wrong. right? Okay, then we have to fight. So the point is that from this, we can, although it may not be 100%, you may not fully get it now at this point, but you get a clue that, okay, it's very strange. I would say that same thing is seen by everyone, but in actuality what is seen is very different by the 50 people. So there are 50 different perceptions. Okay. Then if the 50 different perceptions, then perhaps all 50 are incorrect. If they're incorrect, what's the reality and what's the perception? These two are different. So I said that there's a flower there because I can see it. Now my perception cannot be relied upon. Right? My perception cannot be relied upon. If I cannot rely on the perception, then what makes you think that there's a flower here? Now you are left with no clue. Okay, so what is seen as a flower, this can be deceptive. Because what you see can be deceptive. Your perception and the other's perception, they are very different. Okay. From this, we come to get some kind of clue. Okay, this one way, and through other reasonings, we'll come to the feeling that this flower is just a mere perception. The flower is mere perception, or the mere appearance. You getting it? Okay. Mere appearance means beyond appearance, there's nothing really there. Appearance is coming where? On the subject or on the object? On the subject. What has happened? The appearance happened on the subject, which means your mind. Beyond that, from the object, there's nothing really there. There's one understanding, the mere appearance of the object. Object, the flower, to be a mere appearance. One. Number two, that now where's the flower? This petal is the flower, the leaf is the flower, the branches of the flower like this, you will never find a flower. But is there a flower? What's the answer? Answer is yes. Still you have to say yes. If you say no, then we again contradict the conventional reality, the conventional world. So answer is yes. If you say yes, what is this? It's just a bunch of atoms, millions of atoms. Where's the flower? Which atom is the flower? Right? And if the collection is also not a flower, individual atoms are not a flower, where's the flower? Okay. So here, say, bunch of atom on one side serves as one petal, bunch of atoms on the other side serves as another petal. This is how we perceive from distance. So these atoms, on the basis of these atoms, our mind impute the flower. Impute the flower. You're getting it? For example, let's say there are two rooms. You build a house, and there are two rooms, one for the kitchen and one for your, say, living room, bedroom, whatever. And then which is your kitchen? You have not really decided. Oh, this I've never thought, even now. Okay, now I have to ask an expert. The expert will come to take the measurements for the kitchen. I have to decide. Okay, the one towards the east. Okay, that does not have light. The other one is light. I want my living room to have more light. So the one without the light, I'll make it a kitchen. So where's your kitchen? Room A is kitchen. Okay. So room A being kitchen. Happened when? When the room A came out, or when you label it? After labeling. After labeling. So you see, labeling is done by the object or from the subject? From the subject. Again we see that there's the subject which makes the particular room a kitchen. You getting it? Subject plays a role. Okay. So like this, we come to know that it is through the power of the mind imputing. One is appearance. Number two is the mind imputing that this is my friend, this is my mother, this is my kitchen, this is Tibet house, this is India, this is world, this is sun, this is moon, this is day, this is night. Like this. It is mental imputation. So one is mere appearance, which I said earlier. Number two is mere imputation. So with a mere imputation, then we see that one is mere appearance, means beyond appearance happening to the subject, from the object is empty. Number two is mere imputation. Imputation coming from where? Coming from your subject. So mere imputation means except for the imputation coming from the subject, from the object is empty. In both cases, there's the emptiness of objectivity coming. So it's a little technical, particularly those of us who are beginners, don't worry too much about it, right? So this way of thinking, will allow you to be freed from the fears of life. Although a little difficult, right? Just keep trying, and slowly you'll get there. Never underestimate your own potential. Everyone has the capacity to understand this. The point is how long it will take, right? How much effort that you need to exert. That depends on the individual's, say, it's pre-conditions, pre-situations, past situations. Otherwise, it's a fact that everybody has the capacity to understand this concept. It may take longer time for some people, less time for others. Okay, so this analysis is so important too. Now the point is that, okay, see, which do you prefer? Where your fears dissolve, but your positive emotions do not arise, like say proactivity, compassion, right? And wanting to voluntarily you're going to help others and so forth. So these things don't happen, and your fear also dissolve, right? This is one situation, scenario. Another scenario is that, say, your fear dissolves and your compassion, the good qualities, they grow, right? You become very dynamic, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, actively working for other beings, and then your fear dissolves. The fear rises and dissolves. For us, when you plunge in working for others, you confront with so many challenges. In the process, you feel disheartened and demoralized, right? Okay, this is all because I'm burnt out, or because I've been doing for others, right? So the others, as though like, say, we become a little bit of, say, the showing off, and then you feel demoralized, stress, burnout, and so forth. Whereas for others, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right, your fear, burnout, all these things, zero. Plus, you can reach out to as many, so they would be dynamically you can do it. Okay, what makes him do that? There are two things. One is his fear is dissolved. Seeing things like a dream. They're all what's happening in a dream, they're all my dream. There's not really there. Okay, so that means to dissolve all your fears. And then the other side, that the world is still operating. Although things are like dream, the world is still operating. The functionality of the world, right? Functional world, you see this. You see the functionality of the world so clearly, and how the world functions if things are all like dream. Things function by imputation. Through the mental imputation, through dependence on other factors, things operate, right? So you see that if I love my hand so much, then knowing that my hand, it does not have independent existence. My hand comes into being by dependence on the fingers, the palm, the bones, the blood vessels, the skin. By dependence on all these factors, my hand comes into being. So if I really love my hand, if I really want to take care of my hand, I should know how to take care of the parts of the hand. Because it is by dependence on these parts that my hand comes into being. Likewise, coming to know that things do not have any objective existence. Things come into being by dependence on other factors, particularly depends on the mind, how the mind imputes. And things become like that. So on the basis of the imputation, then the functionality, you're able to account for the functionality. So there, the mere appearance and the mere imputation. Of the two, mere imputation will allow you to see the harmony of the emptiness and dependent, the origination, functionality and emptiness and the inharmony. So this is what will come to us through understanding the second one. But for the second one, the first one must precede. The first, seeing things as mere appearance, that must precede seeing things as mere imputation. Right? Okay, this is so important. Okay, so with this little, say, intro, we go to the stanza 304, page 37, chapter 13, stanza 304. Okay, now the point is okay. How many of you have seen Tibet House, the conference hall? How many of you have no clue of Tibet House conference hall? No? How many of you don't have any clue of Tibet House because it's so big, it's amazing, there's auditorium, right? You have never been there? Okay, Tibet's you have to take them to Tibet's conference hall. How many of you have never been to Tibet's conference? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you are in conference hall. Right? Okay. Okay. Now the point is, okay, now how many of you know Tibet's conference hall? Okay, we all know the conference hall, right? Okay, now tell me, which is the conference hall? This pillar is the conference hall? This pillar, is it a conference hall? No. Where is it conference hall? The ceiling? No, the floor, walls, the windows, the altar, the tangas. Which is the conference hall? The acorn, the brave flags. If you go like this, you will never find conference hall. You're getting it? If you go like this, you will never find conference hall. The concept of conference hall will dismantle. Concept of conference hall will make no sense the moment you go into. But you tell me, okay, where's Tibet's conference hall? Tell me, anyone. Where is Tibet's conference hall? Huh?
Where we are sitting.
Huh?
Where we are at present.
India?
Yeah.
India is Tibet's conference hall? We're in India, right? And also world. We are in the world. World is also Tibet's conference hall. Where is Tibet's conference? Okay. Don't think that I'm a philosopher. So I'm very serious. Tell me, where's the Tibet House conference hall? This is Tibet's conference hall. You will say this. You're getting it? This is Tibet's conference hall. Or you will say, this is Tibet's conference hall. Or you will say, this is Tibet's conference hall. This is how we would say it. Okay, right? Do you agree with me? If somebody who has no clue of philosophy comes, okay, there's a teaching happening, right? And I learned that there's a teaching happening, okay, in the Tibet's conference hall. Then the person comes right here in front of you. Where's Tibet's conference hall? What is your answer? You are in Tibet's conference hall. You're getting it? Okay. So this is the answer. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. This is the answer. Now, if the other person is not at all exposed to philosophy, but the person has the natural gift of asking questions, right? Person asks, where's the Tibet House conference hall? Then you say, this is the floor is the Tibet House conference hall. What is your answer? No. Where is the Tibet House conference hall then? Okay, now, in most likelihood, you will not. You think. Say, unless you yourself is gifted with debate or good in the arguments, right? Otherwise, you will have no answer now. Why you don't have answer now? You have already crossed the threshold of what is Tibet House conference hall. You getting it? Okay. So, one is how the conventional world accepts. And then, the moment you cross that, you will not find Tibet House Conference Hall. You're getting, for example, say, where are you? I'm here. I'm here. Right? Okay. Is this good answer? Not bad answer. If you ask me, where are you? I'm here. Is it good answer? Bad answer? Good answer. After you seeing me saying that I'm here, your chest is you, or maybe you're pointing to your lungs inside, there's you, heart inside, there's you, then you will never find this I. You're getting it? You will never find a person. Which means that you can go to this extent saying that I'm here. This is the final point beyond which you will never find the self. Do you agree with me or not? Okay. Say this flower. Say, where's the flower? It's here. That's the answer. Beyond this, which atom is made of 1 million atoms? The first atom, second atom, third atom. Where will you find the flower? If you go on the atomic level, where will you find the flower? You will never find the flower. Don't forget it. This is so important. This question is not a bad question, but this question will never lead you to get what a flower is. Likewise, this question will never make you to get what the self is. In other words, there is a borderline there. There's a borderline there, right? Beyond which, if you ask the question, you will never get the answer, right? If you don't cross this border, you will get the answer. So that border is known as border of the conventionality. You're getting it? If you cross this border of conventionality, you go into the ultimate. In the ultimate domain, you will never find anything. Nothing exists on the ultimate domain. Everything exists where? In the conventional domain. This is what we need to know. Okay. Okay, let's see. In fact, this chapter is a very intricate, sophisticated, very advanced topic, right? And I see some new faces, and of course, that those of us who are hearing this for the first time, this kind of discussion for the first time, raise your hands. Those of us who are hearing such discussions. Hey, Lokeshla, how come? And yes, how? We never heard these things before. To the former question, Lokeshi.
So perception and reality.
Okay, don't be too humble, right? So not too over humble. Others, I don't know. Raise your hands. Those who are hearing this kind of discussions, that everything is like a dream, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it afternoon? No. Okay. So let's say those of us here hearing for the first time these complicated thought processes, I would say that you are very, very fortunate, because only through these analysis, this kind of inquiry, that you will slowly discover that what I am seeing is not reality, right? If what you're seeing is not reality, what is that thing which you are seeing? This is just my perception. It is just my perception, means perception is the subject or the object? Subject. Then from the object is empty. If the object is empty, is purely subjective, then it becomes like a dream. Dream is also coming from a mind, and from the object is empty. So everything is like a dream. Okay, this reflection is so precious, so precious. If you get this experience, initial experience, you might have goosebumps in your body, right? And in many cases, there could be a tinge of fear coming in your mind. If your fear comes, don't take it as a bad omen. You're very lucky, right? You keep doing this practice, slowly the fear will be replaced by incredible joy, incredible peace of mind, right? Okay, so the point is that this is a very precious analysis. If possible, see how much you can sustain this kind of analysis and be exposed more and more to this kind of analysis. This is so important. Okay, now that we're going through the technicalities, it may become a little technical, don't worry. Okay. 304. There is no direct perception of just the form alone, because it is a close and distant as well as subtle part. Okay. Okay, how many of you have looked at the other person sitting next to you? How many have looked at the other person sitting next to you? You did not look at the other person sitting next to you? You looked at that person, right? Every one of us looked at that person. Okay, when you look at the person, you smiled or you didn't smile? How many smiled? Okay, we're good. Now tell me. Just follow the thought process, the way I'm guiding you. Okay, the person you saw the person, yes, no?
Yes.
But in actuality, what I saw the person is just the front thin layer, the thin skin of the person, yes, no? And the thin skin of the person is not a person, yes, no? Thin skin, nowadays, when the grafters are there, so these people, they make the facial expression just identical as the real person. You bring a thin like this, you would like to smile like this person? No, right? Thin thing is not a person. If that thin layer comes out like this, it's so scary, right? Instead of smiling, you may run away, right? But this time you smiled, right? Why did you smile? Okay, what you see there, that makes you smile, and what makes you run away by seeing this, separately coming, which means that what you've smiled, what made you smile earlier was a deception. You think that you have seen the person. In actuality, you have seen just the 0.01% of the person. You have not seen more than that. And that's not the person. You're getting it? Okay. So now, what have you seen now? Tell me. Okay, what have you seen? Are you seeing something? Huh?
Yes.
What are you seeing? The flower. What are you seeing is just the front part of the flower. You agree with me? The front part of the flower is not the flower. You agree with me? Yeah. So you have not seen the flower, right? Now tell me, what have you seen? Front part. Even the front part has also the front and back. Right? And the back you do not see. Again, the front of the front. Right? You go like this, you come to know that what I think I'm seeing is all deceptive. Right? Okay, 304. There is no direct perception, like your eye consciousness seeing the flower. There is no direct perception of just the form alone. Form, even what you call as the form, I'm seeing the physical form alone separately, because it has a close and distant as well as a central part. What you call as I'm seeing a form, even that form has a closer part, distant part which is behind, and the central part. Closer towards you, further away from you, and the central part. And you have seen just the front and the central and the distant, you do not see that. Right? So even what you call as the form, you do not see it. Okay, because it is close and distant as well as central part. So what makes you think that the flower exists objectively? Right? What you've seen is not really the flower. You have not really seen the flower. So therefore, the belief that the flower exists objectively, that is the refuted, that is being challenged. You getting it? Okay, if you think like this, it can be a little scary. right? Okay, then say if it really affects you very badly, that it may happen to some people with this reflection, then you may become disoriented. If it does happen badly, then you must, okay, right? You must, okay, say here in Delhi, say if you have other people who are exposed to this study and so forth, you meet with those people, you can meet your friends here around, and make sure that there's always a support there to keep you balanced and oriented. Otherwise, it could be quite scary for 1 out of 1,000. 1 out of 1,000, this situation may happen, right? If it does happen to someone, if the person is channelized properly, that person is very lucky, right? Then the chance to see emptiness is going to be much, much closer, right? Whereas with such situation, if the person does not find any support to keep the person oriented, right, properly oriented, then it can also be quite scary. But it's just 1 out of 1,000. I don't think even 1,000, because his whole institutions, how many people come? Lakhs and lakhs. And so how many such cases happen? No, 0. Don't worry, it will not happen. Right? If it does happen, you're very lucky. I'll put it like this, right? Okay. So the point is that such reflections is very important. Okay, now from this we see that I'm seeing flower. No. I'm seeing front part of the flower. No. What are you seeing now? Okay, so the flower, how do you know that, what makes you think that the flower exists objectively? I don't see it, this is dismantled. So now you are left with no basis to say that the flower object exists objectively. Okay. 305. This also applies when one examines whether particles have parts or not. Thus, to prove a thesis by that which must be proved is not feasible. Okay, so the opponents who believe in what is known as particles. Okay, tell me. So these things, don't just leave it on the basis of what the philosophers say, right? What the philosophers say, you use them as a means. So finally, you have to decide. You have to decide. You have to gain conviction, right? Or according to this school, no, just forget about all these things. According to this school, according to this author, forget about all these things. What they say, use them. And if you agree, use them. Don't quote them. For example, what is 2 plus 3? What is 2 plus 3 equals? 5. And who told you that is 5? Huh? Who told you that is 5? Okay. Okay. 2 plus 3 equals 5. My teacher said it. You don't know this.
Now I know.
Okay. Okay. So, in fact, this is very important. If somebody asks you, what is 2 plus 5? You say, no, what is 2 plus 5? You say 7. And who told you this 7? No. And if you are a very confident person, not as humble as Ajirji, if you're a very confident person, you'll say, no, I know it. I know it. It's very simple, I know it. I don't want to quote someone, right? It's what do you call it? It's what is the English word?
Self-knowledge.
No, it's insult. It's an insult on me that I don't need myself. I need someone else's, 2 plus 5 equals 7. Even for this, I have to quote someone. No, it's an insult for me, right? I know it. Okay, so once I shared this with most of you here, almond. I gave some almonds to a very young boy, I think now age 6. And then he said that, I like almonds. He enjoyed it. And then he picked one almond and said that inside the color is white. Inside the color is white. And outside is brown. Then I just wanted to check what is his thinking, whether he is like a Yuji or whether he is like himself. I said, how do you know it's white? Yes, it's white, I know this. Then I ate it and wow, it's white inside. How do you know it? Right? I told him. He said, I know. Did somebody tell you? No, I know this. He said, he's not like a Yuji. Right? He said, no, I know this. Okay, this is known as your own experience. Now, with this question, your experiences are challenged. Right? Experiences are challenged. Okay, so with this, saying we can learn from the philosophers, and in the actual event of our analysis, don't quote the philosophers. Use the philosophers' thoughts and see if you agree with them. If you agree with them, use them. If you don't agree, keep them aside for the time being. Right? Don't quote them according to this school, according to that school. No, forget about all these things. For your own meditation, right? For discussion, it's fine. You can quote. It's fine. But for your personal meditation, don't quote. Use them. If you don't agree, keep them aside. If you don't understand, ask them. Ask other people. Right? Okay. So the point is that some philosophers, they are philosophers who say that this flower, say, okay, this flower, I break into two. Can this be divisible? Broken into two? Yes. The first part, I broke into two. Divisible, not divisible? Yes. How far can I go? How far can I go dividing it? At one point. Is there any point where it stops? It cannot be divided any further? Will you reach a point where you cannot divide any further? Or it just endlessly, it's infinite. It will go ad infinitum. So which of the two you think is correct? You reach a point where it cannot be divided any further, or you think that you just keep dividing like this, it will be it will go just ad infinitum. Which of the two? The first, you will reach a point, or you will not reach a point. Okay, how many of you say that you may reach a point? Or how many of you say that, very likely you will not reach a point? Or how many of you, 100%, you will never reach a point? Okay, how many say it may reach a point? Or how many say it will reach a point? Okay. So the point is that this is something to be analyzed. These analyses are so precious. These analyses we never do in our day-to-day life. So with these analyses, our own experience is challenged. And our experience, within that there are two things. One which is valid and one which is erroneous experience. You're getting it? One which is valid and one which is, say if I eat food, my hunger will disappear or not? Yes, this is non-erroneous experience. You getting it? When I eat objectively existent food, my objectively existent hunger will disappear? Yes, no? Okay, according to what we've learned, it's not possible. But our experience, or so-called experiences, yes, that is erroneous. There are two things. Eating food will disappear hunger. This is correct. Eating objectively existent food will disappear objectively existent hunger. That is false. But experience, within us, we cannot tease apart the two things. We think that these two are the same, right? And the first thought will give rise to our functional world, will make you cope up with the functional world. With the second thought, it will attract all the miseries. Right? Okay. So what we're learning here is the one which challenges our erroneous experience. Okay. So according to erroneous experience, we say that okay, it's fine, the flower we don't see it, the front part of the flower also we don't see it, finally you come to a point which is known as the indivisible particles, partless particles, indivisible particles. So that is a particle which does not have any parts. You see it and finish. right? You see it and finish. Because such an indivisible particle is there, the collection of that indivisible particle is also there. The collection of that is what forms the flower. So therefore the flower exists objectively. So there is a group of philosophers who propose such a concept of the indivisible particles. Okay, so 205 says, this also applies when one examines whether particles have powers or not. With the particles, even with the subtlest particle, you can imagine the subtlest particle, even the subtlest particle, the so-called subtlest particle, we see that it is also consisted of parts. Okay, there's a very interesting discussion there. I'm not too sure whether to do it here or not.
Please do.
Okay. Okay, how many of you heard about this? The reasoning, rendered by Acharya Vasubandhu, in the 20 stanzas. Okay, how many of you can explain this? Very quickly explain this. Anyone? Rimala, you like to try? Or say anyone? Dipesh, you want to try? Rimala, you like to try? Okay, let us listen. So this is a very important concept, and so let's say, how many of you heard about this? Rimala, Divishla, Radhikala, Ankitla, Prishla. Okay, let's see. Let us try one or two. Yes, Rimala, begin.
I'm trying to don't know whether I can.
Yes.
So if you imagine that there is a coin as a particle, and then that coin as a particle, and it has four sides: the left, right, top, and bottom. So if we say that there are no directional particle, it has no further
Divisions
in the particles. So that means that the particles on the left, right, or bottom, they will all conflate into the same particle.
How?
There will be no.
Okay, they will conflate.
They will conflate into
They will all conflate into single particle.
particle.
Okay, so I want somebody to explain how. Divesha, you will try. Okay, the point is that all those who already heard this, those who are hearing this for the first time, listen, raise your hands. Those who are hearing for this first time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the first time you're hearing. Yes, okay. Say there are 9. Say, they should keep in mind that they should say, yes, we understood it. Right? This is very important. Okay.
So basically, the background is that there are a set of philosophers who are saying it's a partless particle. That means it does not have a part. Right? So rather than coin, I'll take this as a table. So it has got 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, top, and let's say it was in the air, the bottom. So there are 6 sides to it. So these philosophers are saying that it does not have a part. So there is a contradiction that happens. So let's say if it does not have a part, that means this side should be identical to this side.
East side.
Yeah, east side should be identical to the west side. Are you guys following? Yep. So if they are identical, and let's say this particular table is like a partless particle and it's surrounded by 6 other tables. We assume table as a partless particle. There's a table here, table below, here,
Don't say here. East, west, north, south.
East, yeah. So there are six sides the table is there, right? So if the east and the west were identical, then on this side, you will not be able to posit this as the east side or this as the west side, because they are saying it's identical. If it's identical, then how come that towards the east side there is another particle which is closer to it, and this is distant from the other side, right? So it creates a contradiction. So if they still insist that it's same, then a very large kind of a phenomena which is made of so many particles, it will become just one particle. That's a contradiction that will happen.
Okay, so let us look at the face of those people who are hearing for the first time.
Still blind.
Okay, they are good, very good. Okay, Radhika, you would like to try? Ankita, you like to try?
So, just adding to what Dipesh has been saying, so in what way, if the particle is partless, then a big object can just collapse into can conflate or collapse into a small particle. So it's just as said that assuming that this table represents a partless particle and it's considered two sides, east and west, and there is one table on the east, one table on the west, representing two other partless particles. So if this particle is partless, that would mean that what we are saying is east and west sides, they are actually one side because it does not have any part. So what is east part is also west part, and what is west part is also east part. So then the table which is on the east side and the table which is on the west side, they should also touch each other. Because east and west sides are same, they are not different because the particle is partless. So these two particles or these two tables on the east and west side, they should also touch each other. And because they are also partless, likewise the tables which surround them, they will also come to touch each other, and likewise everything will become one, collapse.
Okay, good. We have to look at the faces. Okay. Now, Prince Shiji, you like try? Yes.
So, before going to partless particle, first let us think what is partless particle. So, generally we try to search for the fundamental, the last, whatever we call atom or molecule or whatever, something fundamental particle. So, if it is a particle with some space, like imagine my fist. So if there is a space, it is not a partless particle because it can be further divided. So this much you got, then I can enter into.
No, I have a question. I have a question there.
Yes, sir. So no, first get this, that what is partless particle. So if there is a spatial gap, like say if partless particle, very tiny particle, but still it has a space. So it is not a partless particle.
Why not?
Because it can be further divided.
Why?
Because if it has space.
That's your imputation.
No,
I don't
no.
know. I don't believe in East-West. That's your imputation.
No. Imagine a very tiny particle, molecule or atom. So if it has concrete substantial existence, it can be further divided. Is what you agree?
No.
Then how it can exist? If it cannot be divided, then it cannot exist in space.
No, it can exist.
Like how? I'm questioning how. How it can exist without having space? Something can exist?
No, it has space and can't be
So
divided.
if it has a space, then it can be divided?
No.
How?
Well, how not?
No. Like imagine.
Just want to say that distinction can be made between indivisible versus partless.
Yes.
So we're not saying not
Yeah.
indivisible, but partless aspect.
Yeah. So
Because any particle of any dimension can always be surrounded by four particles on the side, and say one on top and one at the bottom. So that shows it has at least six sides.
no.
How not? Because if there is a particle,
But there can be 1,000 sides too.
Yes.
at least
At least
sides.
6.
No.
At least 6.
Sides is your imputation. Side is nothing from the particle.
I mean, at least
So
it
if
is.
it is existing in space, instead of occupying space, it will have sides.
Okay, very good. So we have to now challenge the location, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Radhikaji, Shalinila, right? And then Pushkarji, right? And then Atundraji, Nareshi, Ajirji, all are there. Don't worry, Lokeshi, everybody will attack you. And Ajadavram was there, Ajadavram was there. And Sanjeevji, the architect is there, right? You'll prove that. 2 architects are here. Okay, so the point, this is a very important point, right? Tejala, you want to say something? Okay, so this is a very important point. How the partless particle, indivisible particle. So what do you understand by indivisible particle, partless particle? So what is being rejected here is the partless particle, right? Indivisible strictly from the point of view of the physics today. Physics say whether or not the atom can be split into parts. So now we split electrons, protons, neutrons, and so forth. Now electron, it has a very specific mass and the spin.
And the charge.
So the question is, can we split it further? This is the question. Split electron. Thus far, this is the smallest, which can be seen as the single unit, smallest, and of course it is measured with a specific, say the mass. So which means that theoretically we can divide it, but experimentally can be divided. This is the question. So thus far, this is the smallest, and it's not saying that this cannot be divided any further. So according to the technology that we have, this is the smallest as of now, right? But it doesn't mean, science doesn't speak about whether it is a partless particle or it is the particle with path. This is not the discussion science is doing. What science is doing is, thus far, this is indivisible particle. Thus far, up to this point, is indivisible. So whereas partless, the philosophers, particularly philosophers in this, trying to prove how everything is like dream, they speak about the partless particle, the rejecting the partless particles. Okay, this concept is very important, and because that 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts were made, and they are all very good, and we can't really expect to understand it very fast or very quickly. The point is that we need to have consistent learning that will take us to understand it more and more. Okay. So let's see that 305. Let's do 305 and 306, then we'll stop here. 305. This also applies when one examines whether particles have parts or not. Thus, to prove a thesis by that which must be proved is not feasible. So what it says here is that, I say that what you see is the flower. This is, you're not actually seeing a flower, you're just seeing the front of the flower. Front of the flower is not a flower. You agree. And then you say, okay, never mind. I say front of the flower and the back is also there. Back and front combined together, it makes the flower. Right? But even the front, this is also questionable. What do you think you're seeing as the front? This is also not you're seeing the flower, the front of the flower. Front also has the thin layer of front, also has front, middle, and the behind. So you're not seeing the other two. You're seeing just the front. Go like this, then you come to the atoms, particles. Even the particles, you're not seeing the particles. Even the particles have also parts. Front and the central and the behind side. Right? Within that again, there are parts. So that way we see that you can't even see the particles. Okay, 304. There's no direct perception of just the form alone because it is a close into, okay, 305. This also applies when one examines whether particles have parts or not. Thus, to prove a thesis by that which must be proved, meaning, this is very important, this must be proved, meaning, you say that, okay, never mind the flower exists objectively, although I'm not seeing it. from your reasoning, but I'm seeing the particles. This is also to be proven. Even the particles is also questionable. That you are seeing particles also in question, because the particle also has the many parts within, right? So if you say something which is again in question, which you have to prove again, then it is like what you call it, the what do you call it? Was what is the English word? Total. Yeah, it's like a tautology. This is also this. Secularism, that's a technical word here. Aren't you don't have it? Hey, Naresh, you don't have it? Infinite regression? No. Okay, let's forget it. Okay. In other words, the point is that if you bring a reason which itself has to be proven, then it doesn't serve as the reason to prove the first thesis. Right? Okay. Thus, to prove a thesis by that which must be proved, which itself has to be proven. So therefore, this is not feasible. This is not a good reasoning. 306. Everything too is a component as well as being a composite. Thus, even a spoken syllable does not have existence here. Okay, everything too is a component as well as being composite. Let's say that everything, so for example, this flower is made of atoms. And the atoms are the components and the flower is the composite of the components. Right? Okay. Now the flower is a component and the world is the composite. Right? Okay, let's say the atom A, which is one of the millions of the atoms which constitute the flower, atom A. Atom A is the component or the composite with respect to the flower. It's the component. Atom A is the component. So, atom A is component with respect to what? The flower as the composite. Now, atom A is also made of electrons, protons. So the electrons of the atom A is what? Component with respect to the atom A, and atom A is the composite. So the same object is component as well as composite. So it says everything too is a component as well as being a composite. Thus, even a spoken syllable, for example, say, I'm speaking to you. Do you see a flower? This is the words that I'm using the words. Do you see a flower? Is this a flower? Flower? Answer is yes. So when you say flower, say flower. Two parts are there. Flower, two parts are there. First one, flower. So that is the component, and component with respect to the flower. A flower is a component with respect to, is this a flower? So we see that even with the words, we see that the same part of the word is component as well as composite. Okay, so when we see this, we see that everything is composite as well as component. If it is composite, which means that it has multiple parts. Composite means it has multiple parts. If everything is composite, everything has multiple parts. If everything has multiple parts, nothing is independent in the air. Right? When you go into the components, then the whole will disappear. The concept of whole will disappear. So the concept of whole comes into being only with the parts and your mind imputing it. Right? Okay. Okay, let us do this exercise, then we'll stop here. Let us do this exercise. Okay. Just think of the person sitting next to you. Or look at the person sitting next to you if you like it. Okay, right? Okay. When you look at a person, that made you smile, right? Okay, now slowly let us go into the same person, right? Same person in the form of the same. What we saw as the person is made of innumerable cells. Okay, let's go into the cells on the cellular level. Let's go into the cellular. Oh, don't look at the person. Hey, some people they are so keen to look at that person. Don't look at the person. Now think of the same person on the cellular level, right? Cellular level means that the cells, they are divided by the cell membranes, and this each cell containing the cytoplasm inside the cell membrane, the nucleus, mitochondria, chromosomes, and so forth. Okay, just go to that level. Okay, let's go further, go down further, right? We see the chromosomes. Even the chromosomes, which are the RNA, DNA, right? They are made of these chains. These chains are made of molecules, DNA molecules. Okay, these molecules are made of atoms. Okay, you can go further, stay there. Okay, now you are seeing millions of atoms. Okay, stay there, you are seeing millions of atoms. Okay. If the other person you saw earlier, which made you smile, if the other person is a boy or a girl, that is demarcated on the base of the body. Now, on this level, where is this boy? Where is this girl? You're just seeing millions of atoms. Which is the boy? Which is the girl? Tell me. Nothing is there as a boy or a girl. What you saw as a boy or girl, this was just nothing more than what your mind saw. It's just a mere appearance. Beyond that, it's just millions of atoms. None of the atoms are male, none of the atoms are female. Okay, stay there. Where is that person which made you to smile? Now tell me, which of the atoms will make you smile? None of the atoms will make you smile. Right? Okay, now come out. Okay, now when you think of the person, again you see things are so solid there, so well defined there, not as atoms. So this again, the very gross, the thought processes, very gross perceptions, they're operating now. That makes us to believe that things exist so objectifying there, right? So in actuality, we see that the thing which made me smile, it disappears. It's not really there. Okay. If your meditation on this becomes quite effective, is very powerful. It's very powerful. In fact, the unnecessary fears, anxiety, tension, and expectations, they'll all dissolve automatically with this meditation. At the same time, we have to think of the conformity with the functional world, how the world still operates, right? It doesn't mean that the world doesn't operate. The world operates, but how we see the world and how the world actually operates, these two are very different. Okay, we'll stop here for today. Okay, let us quickly do the end dedication prayer. Or else what we'll do is that we'll read from page 201. Page 201. This is the compilation of very precious stanzas, verses, paragraphs, and passages for us to invoke the experience of dreamlike nature of all phenomena experience. Okay, so let's read them first. 201. Together, slowly. Given by the precious Chan Sutra, an extract. Manjushri, whoever listens even with doubt to this teaching on emptiness, generates much greater merit than a bodhisattva who, lacking skill in means, practices the sixth perfection for 100,000 eons. This being so, what need is there to say anything about a person who listens to this teaching without doubt? What need is there to say anything about a person who imparts the scripture in writing, memorizes it, and also teaches it thoroughly and extensively to others? The treasury of the One Thus Gone Sutra. Any person who possesses all these 10 great known virtues enters into the teaching of selflessness, and his faith and conviction that all phenomena are from the beginning pure of true existence does not go to a bad rebirth. Section on Subduing Devils Sutra and Devils. If any bhikshu realizes that all phenomena are absolutely pacified of inherent existence, and the beginning of defilements is devoid of self-nature, it will remove the guilt of having defilements and make unstable the defilements, thus deeming even the immeasurable negativities dysfunctional, that ruin the secondary wrongs done associated with ethics and rituals. Aryadeva's 400 verses. Those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this Dharma of ultimate reality. Should a doubt ever arise in someone, it will shatter samsara into pieces. Acharya Aryadeva is entering the middle way. Even as an ordinary being, when hearing about emptiness, if one experiences within utter joy again and again, tears flowing from such a pure joy moisten one's eyes, and one's hair stands on end, one has the seed of the wisdom of full awakening. Upadhyaya Questa Sutra. The various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme golden apple stands so alluring. For none of these there is a creator, they are positive but a part of thought. It is through conceptualization that the world is imputed. Bhikkhuni Vajira's utterance in the Fundamental Vehicle Sutra. The mind is demonic which views as true self. You have the wrong view. These composition aggregates are empty. There is no being in them. Just as one designates a card in dependence upon a collection of parts, so they assert a conventional sentient being in dependence upon aggregates. Venerable Shavara's writings and extract. Searching for reality throughout space, one finds not the periphery nor the center. All perception cease completely. Likewise, through a total search of mind and phenomena, one finds not even an atom of essence. Since the searching mind is not found, not seeing anything, seeing the reality. Saint Sara's writings. By entering into emptiness, by devoting compassion, one will not find the supreme power. By meditating upon compassion alone, one will not attain liberation, but remain in samsara. The one capable of grasping the unity of the two will not remain in samsara, nor abide in personal nirvana. King of Concentration Sutra. Just as in a dream of a young girl, she met with a boy and saw his death. Joyous was she at the meeting, and in anguish at his death. View all phenomena as thus. Aryadeva's Arjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Through ceasing common afflictions, nirvana is achieved. Common afflictions arise from distorted conceptions. These arise from elaborations of grasping a true existence. Elaborations cease by or into emptiness. Neither the aggregates nor different from the aggregates. The aggregates don't depend on him, nor is he dependent on them. The Tathagata doesn't possess the aggregates. What is the Tathagata? That which dependent originates is posited to them to be independent existence. That being dependently designated, this is the middle way. Since there is no phenomena that is not dependently originated, therefore there is no phenomena that is not empty. Aryadeva's Arjuna's precious garland. If the person is not earth, not water, not fire, not wind, not space, not also consciousness, not all of them, where is the person out of those? Just as the person is not truly existent because of being an aggregation of the six elements, so each element also is not truly existent as the aggregations of their own constituents. Aryadeva's Arjuna's commentary on Bodhicitta. Those who understand the emptiness of all phenomena, yet also conform to the law of karma and its results, that is more amazing than amazing, that is more wondrous than wondrous. 400 verses. When dependent arising is seen, ignorance does not occur. Thus, through all efforts, try to find this subject. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama guided the view of the four mindfulnesses. At the crossroads of the six collections of consciousness, that of diverse perceptions, are seen hazy dualistic phenomena which are baseless. There is a magical show that is by nature deceptive, but view them as having the nature of emptiness. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it in the nature of appearance emptiness. Through not losing mindfulness, holding the nature of appearance emptiness, The sphere of appearing and existing phenomena is pervaded by the space of the ultimate clear light of suchness. There is an ineffable ultimate reality. View this natural emptiness through abandoning mental contrivances. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it in the ambience of reality. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it in the ambience of reality. His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama's praise for proliferating the Dharma of the land of snows. Venerable Marpa Lozawa, Shebe Dorji, and so on, the host of the precious Kagyu, the source of blessings, the chain of the unexcelled masters of this outstanding tradition. To you all I pray, may the Buddha Dharma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. All phenomena encompassing samsara and nirvana are but the radiance of spontaneous awareness. Awareness itself, devoid of elaborations, is realized in the nature of Dharmakaya. Pervading all existences and appearances of samsara and nirvana is the great Mahamudra. May the Buddha Dharma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. Impermanent, suffering, and empty, these three, they purify the mind. The Dharma that is unsurpassing, purifying the mind is that of intrinsic nature. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even as a cosmic life. Shiri Heruka, Shiri Heruka, Shiri Heruka. He is the selflessness of phenomena, emptiness of the mind, which is source of everything, as it is imputed to be of causal nature. Ru is the selflessness of person, the emptiness of the self that is fabricated by the web of conceptual thought that grasps the self of person. Ka is the ultimate reality, the absence of the dissonant duality of subject and object. She is the non-dual exalted wisdom that abides in congruence with the emptiness of the object. This is the meaning of Eva. Okay, let us turn to page 279. 278, and dedication prayer. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful chariots, the tens and Gyasu, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samadhi too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with a dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones, thus go on with the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. Chanjo Sanjo Rinpoche Anye Banam Ge Yoroche Ge Ba Nyamba Me Ba Ya Kone Kondo Pe Baraisho. As long as space remains, as long as sentient things remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into their enlightened state. I dedicate merit thus gathered towards the realization that these and the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem, I confess the negativities individually, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings, I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. The power of unity, emptiness, and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the snowland. You are the lotus holder of Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separate from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities and stages of the path, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even in the cosmic life.